I'm your host, Athena Rose, and today I'm sitting with Carlee at After 5 Studios, and we are a bit behind schedule, but that is okay. That's all that Carlee is about.
Very on brand for me.
Introduce yourself to the motherfucking people.
Hey guys, I'm Carlee. I'm recently 26 years old. I have my podcast, Behind Schedule, and follow me on Instagram at cmoneymurder.
I don't know why it was so funny. You're like, I'm recently 26
It's hard.
years old.
It's honestly been really hard for me.
How does that feel? What's different about 26?
It's been a month and a week, and I applied for like 3 new jobs randomly. And then I'm like, I don't even want to work at any of these things. So like...
Well, she's also industry.
Yeah.
I'm industry, so being in that industry, it'll do that to you.
Yeah, I've quit jobs, gotten new ones, quit them. I worked at a bar in Trenton for like 3 weeks.
Recently,
like 3 weeks.
Did you find it on like Craigslist or Indeed?
No, so it's like back in my hometown. So I was driving from here to Trenton. And I was just like, I just want to leave the club. Like, I need a new job, da-da-da. So I worked there, but I was still at the club because I had to put in my 2 weeks to, like, be proper. And then I was working there, and then I had radio, and then I got the job at Uptown. So now I had 4 jobs. I'm like, all right, one's going, so technically I'm back at 3. Then
What were you doing, like 1 shift a week at each job? How did that work?
Well, the one at Uptown didn't really start until after my birthday because I was like, it's my birthday, I'm doing this, this, and this. So that didn't start until after my birthday. And then the one job, the club job, I quit on my birthday. That was my last day. So then I'm like, okay, we'll see. So it was just a lot, but we're like calm now. We're cool.
We're calm, we're cool, and we're navigating through the shit show of our 20s. Because I'm like, I'm 24. I'm about to be 25 soon. So there's definitely some wisdom that you can bestow upon me as I approach my mid-20s.
Yeah.
Like the mid-20s. But before we get into all of the booty club questions, the relationship antics, talking stage woes, I figured we should transition into my icebreaker segment. I love to call it worst first. It's any worst first sexual encounter or dating experience, which unfortunately we are both familiar with. So it's only fair, Carlee. I don't mean to put you in the hot seat, but you're in it, so.
It's okay. I'm here. I'm excited to tell the story, honestly.
I'm excited too.
It's funny. Okay. So we're going back to like... We're going back. I'm like 14 years old. This is my first boyfriend ever. Mind you, my first boyfriend was white. This is really, like, he was my only white man I've ever dated in my whole life. He was white.
Like JB or Timothy Chalamet?
He was, okay, so he was half white, half Spanish. So more of like a chunky Bad Bunny. Like.
That's an interesting description.
Like, he was a little chunks, but he was like light. That's why I say Bad Bunny, because Bad Bunny is very like fair skinned. So he was very like fair skinned. So whatever. And this is like the first boy I've ever done anything with, like first kiss, like first everything, whatever. So goes to the first time I ever got fingered, like finger banged, whatever. So when
was it a plan? Was it a plan?
It might have been. It might have been like, oh, let's go to the movies, and then like we'll hang out after. Mind you, he was older, so he had a car.
Okay.
So he picked me up and like drove us to the movies, and like we hung out in his car all the time. And I can't even think of how it like started, like whatever. But I remember how he fingered me. So it wasn't even a finger. Like it wasn't like, you know, like fingering is like coochie hole, finger in the coochie hole. And I didn't know that. Like, I'm like, when I'm telling you, I used to be like a saint, like Virgin Mary's sister, like that me and her were like this. Like, I had no idea.
You didn't even know what finger banging was?
No, like I had no idea. So I'm thinking like, just because his fingers are on my coochie, like not in my coochie, like on my coochie.
Was he finding the clit? Did you know that you had a clit at that point?
No, I didn't know anything about a vagina. I'm not even using tampons. I don't have my period. I got my period at like 16, so I don't even have my period.
I'm laughing because like this is a real experience for a lot of people.
So he's just literally like playing DJ like on my clit. That's it. Like, there's no fingering, like, inserted. Like, and he's doing 3 fingers. That's why I keep doing this. So he did it with 3 fingers, like, on, like, record. So I'm like, all right, cool. And then, you know, at that age, you gotta tell all your friends, like, oh my God, like, just got fingered. Like, you know, like, shit like that. So I, like, next day I go and tell all my friends, I'm like, guys, like, it finally happened. Like, I just got fingered. Because I'm, like, a late bloomer. They already all got fingered before, fucking whores. So I tell them, I'm like, hey guys, just got fingered. And they're like, oh my God, how was it?
You have to do the little debrief.
They're like, how was it? Like, what happened? How many fingers did he use? And I'm like, Okay, like he used 3.
How many
Yeah, because it was like 1 or 2, I guess. So like how many fingers they use? I said he used 3, and they're like mouth on the floor, like 3 fingers, Carlee, and I'm like, yeah. They're like, it didn't hurt, like you didn't bleed or anything, and I'm like, what are you all talking about? Like what are you guys talking about? Like, no, like 3 fingers. Like, I feel like 1 would have not been enough. And then 2, like, I'm doing the motions like this.
Well,
like,
was it like 1 in the stink, 2 in the pink, or however they be saying? Or
I don't even know.
Because that's like finger blasting.
Oh, I think that's what they thought, but I didn't even know that existed.
But maybe they didn't even know about the whole putting the finger in the butthole because you were young.
Yeah, we were so young. So like, but the story is just one I'll never forget. So yeah, so they're like 3, like that's just a lot. Like that's like really overwhelming. And I'm like, how would you guys do it with 1 just like this? And I'm like, or 2 like this. And they're like, what are you doing? Like, what are you
Or also
about?
Maybe he has really small fingers.
Right.
Has anyone thought about that?
Right, but I told you he was a little chunky, so you know them fingers a little fat. So you wouldn't even need 3 fingers in your coochie hole. Like, 1 would have been fine.
But also I feel like I don't know about for you, but I admire his technique because there's people who
I get it.
come from clitoral, there's people who come from penetrative stimulation. I've realized like the concept of being finger banged or just being fingered, like that doesn't do anything for me. Like if my clit isn't getting any type of attention, then sometimes like it's like what are we doing?
Yeah, that's me, and he started it. So so yeah.
So that's how you got to where you are now. So so why was it the worst?
Because I never got fingered, actually. I just got my clit played with.
I mean, technically you did, though.
Did I?
You did.
It wasn't in the hole. Like, the hole came, like, 2 months after.
But isn't that finger, like, he's like, rick it, you know what I mean? He DJ'd.
Yeah, but is it fingering,
turntables a little bit. I would say so, because now when I think of getting fingered, at least in my adult life, like, that's more so what I envision than someone, like, blasting their fingers.
I was like, please do not finger bang me. I really will just, I don't like it. I don't like it hurts.
It depends. I feel like we need a build up. Sometimes people just go right for it. Like the men that I deal with, sometimes they don't butter you up a little bit, and then it just feels like
did that hurt your ears? I'm sorry. like, okay.
But that's not terrible. I'm glad it wasn't a horrible experience.
That was just the cleverest one I could have thought of.
No, I mean, not 1, but 2, but 3 is a very important detail to add to the story.
3 fingers.
And also, I feel like for all of us around that age, we all experiment a little bit more. Me, instead of just like dipping a toe in the water, that's when I started fucking. Like, I fucked for the first time when I was 14, and then I never had sex again until I was 18. Because I was traumatized, had a breast reduction at 16. There was lots of other things that led to that. Yeah.
Wait, you didn't think like they would like shrink down?
Hell no, they didn't. Girl, I was a 32 double J when I was
14 is fucking
When I was
crazy.
15, that's when they were like at their peak. Dude, and I was literally the tick girl in high school. Like
that's insane.
I was the talk of the town. When I showed up, I'll never forget, after my breast reduction surgery, there was this guy named Zay. I wonder how you're doing, Zay. Hope you're okay. He was smoking a Newport across the street. He was 2 years older than me, and he looked at me up and down, looked at his friends, looked back at me, and then was like, what happened to your titties? And then that's how the news was broke to everyone that the girls were chopped off. Best decision I ever did in my life. But yeah, I feel like at that age group, you're just so unsure of yourself. You don't know what sex means. You don't know what you're really signing up for. And so there's all these phenomenons that you hear about. You're like, a blowjob, what's that? Getting fingered, what's that? And it's kind of one of those things that I've started to realize for a lot of people. Like, yeah, my parents, they gave me, well, my mom specifically, she gave me a book of vaginas when I was about like 12. She just like slammed that bitch down on the table and was like, read this. And then that's how that went. But aside from that, you know, we did have conversations that were healthy around sex, but like, you're not going to be going to your parents being like, what the fuck does it mean to have a blowjob? Like, what?
Right. Like, my boyfriend wants a blowjob. Where can we buy it?
What does that mean? How long is it supposed to go on for? You learn from your friends. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So in their mind, they're like, 3 fingers, girl?
Exactly. So I'm like, damn, I really still didn't get fingered. Like, I'm still the fucking last one.
Now you're like forever seeking the validation of having 3 fingers inside of you every time. You're like, I need 3.
Right, no.
Let's bring it to 4.
Please don't insert any fingers.
Well, also that's the thing too. I mean, this is also where my hypochondria comes into play. I can't really like fully enjoy sex fully now, because sometimes I'd be overthinking. I'm like, yeah, we're trying to be like hot and steamy in the moment, but like, did you wash your hands? We was just eating Subway. Like, no, for real, because I don't want a UTI. Like, that's the shit no one ever talks about, and it's not sexy. And I don't mean to be like anal or worried about shit in the moment, but like, for the most part, when you have a vagina, you have to live with a lot of the repercussions of last night. Like, men don't really be noticing, or penis having individuals don't really be noticing some of the side effects. Like, yeah, it does happen for the most part. As a woman, as someone with a vagina, you feel all of it because we're constantly like ovulating. We're on our periods. Our hormones are so attached to our vaginal reproductive health. So I'd be nervous about that. Like, clean the underneath your fingernails.
Please go to get manicures.
Come on.
If you're touching bitches.
Come on. I think it would only be fair if I share my worst first
I'm
story.
waiting for you.
And honestly, this is something that to this day he doesn't even know about, the man in question, which makes it even funnier because you follow me on Instagram. I'm like, share, subscribe. Basically, what had happened was, this was when I was heavy in my dating app days. Okay. I was getting carpal tunnel from swiping left on Tinder. I finally get a match. And you know, when you match with people here and there, a lot of times, I must admit, sometimes I go on there for validation. Sometimes you want a little affirmation. You know what I mean? I'm human. What can I say? The odds, though, of really talking to someone and vibing with them, they're very slim. And a lot of times the connections that I would make from dating apps would come from an instant chat or someone replying to something, I guess, about my bio, and us just like shooting back and forth for like an hour, message after message after message. So that was the case with, let's call him Gerald. I don't think I've ever talked to a man named Gerald in my life.
I have. Hey, boo.
Stop it. Of all names that I pick. Okay, let's call him Jerry.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't think I want to say Gerald all the time. That sounds geriatric, you know?
Okay.
He was young. We were the same age.
Okay.
So, me and Jerry start chopping it up. I follow him on Instagram, you know. He's like a little athlete. He does his thing. I had always sworn off that I was going to talk to athletes, which I should have done, because it's usually the same shit. I'll say in this situation with Jerry, him and I were mad cool for a while. We were really, really vibing, but he was love bombing the shit out of me. And I ate that shit up because you looked good. You know what I mean? You looked good. You talked a good game. He seemed genuine. I was like here for it. We're about to go on our first date, so I'm getting excited. So we had just been on FaceTime. I hang up with him. It's like 2 a.m, okay?
First date at 2 a.m.
No.
Oh, okay.
This was the planning of like the first date we're supposed to go on.
Right.
So I call him, we have a nice little chat, we talk about what we're gonna do. I'm like, okay, bye, good night, whatever. 5 minutes later, I get a text from a random number. I don't remember the exact area code, but it was a number that could be in somewhere in Jersey or somewhere in New York, but he was from Jersey. So I'm like, this could be related to him, but this also could be related to me since I'm from New York. So the message says, who is this? Why are you calling me? And I'm like, that's weird, because the last person that I called was Jerry. So I text back and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you texted me, I don't have this number. And they're like, oh, okay, wrong number, never mind. And this is the very, very beginning. I haven't even met this man. So I'm not trying to like read too much into it, but I did ask him the other day lightly, you know, just like, hey, do you know this number? He was like, no, and I was just like, oh, okay, you know, played it off. Cool. Couple days go by. We didn't go on the date. Red flag. Okay. He never had any intentions of meeting. He was just infecting me with the power of potential, and it worked. It definitely worked.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a lot of mental gymnastics going on at that point in time, which is also something we'll get into later. So then I talk to him again. We have a conversation at 1:30 in the morning after I get off of work. And now this time, I don't get a text from that number. I get a phone call. But not just a phone call, I get a FaceTime. And so I decide to pick it up. And I cover my camera and I turn off my mic, but I just answer the phone and all I see is an acrylic nail with the man sleeping in the darkness, like bang the call. Okay, no one says anything. I just see an acrylic nail. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
So I don't know what to think. I'm just processing all of this, and the texts start to come in from this number, and it's like, who is this? I texted you before. You were texting my phone. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little drunk. I'm not combative. I'm not confrontational. I also want no parts of any situation that someone else has going on. I am not a homewrecker. I'm not here for it. And so I'm like, you texted my phone, so who is this? I just want answers. And I had a little liquid courage behind me to get those answers. So we're going back and forth. And she's like, I just want to know the name of him, the name of the guy that you're texting. And I'm like, okay, his name's Jerry. And she's like, Jerry, oh, okay. Cool. Like, what do y'all talk about? So we're going back and forth. You know, she's asked me like some questions, but she was being a little spicy at first, but now she just kind of wants information.
Why do I have a feeling I know exactly what you're talking about?
So
okay, but
we're going back and forth, and she's like, well, did he tell you that he's 45 and he has a newborn?
No, and I go, about. I have no idea who the fuck you're talking about. Wait, what? And
I go, huh? 45 and a newborn, because I've been FaceTiming Jerry.
Right.
Jerry and I have been FaceTiming. Jerry is very much 24.
Okay, then maybe I do.
Unless he has a great skincare routine. And if so, please hit me up and tell me what it is. But in my mind, I knew Jerry was 24.
Right.
So I'm like 45 and a newborn. Like
what
are you talking about? So I decide to send a picture of Jerry to this woman because I'm like, I know there's no way that you're talking about Jerry.
Yeah.
I send her a picture. She's going to respond, are you a man or a woman? I'm like, huh? I was like, I'm a girl. Like,
yeah,
that's
what?
Jerry. She's like, oh, that's not him. Sorry, love. Enjoy. I'm like,
I'm so confused.
Genuinely confused. At that point in the conversation, I had blocked this man. Like, I was not going to talk to him. I was like, wow, I can't believe he lied to me. He ain't shit. He's fucked up. You got a newborn child.
You're 45?
You're 45?
Like,
what is going on? And so the next morning, I wake up processing everything. And then I'm thinking, and I'm like, Jerry, 45, newborn. And then I'm like, oh shit. I called my cousin. Tell me why. I was accidentally calling my cousin's baby dad. Because my cousin's baby dad, it's not Jerry, but it's the same name as the guy that I was talking to. And my mother and I, our iClouds were synced up.
Yo,
and
what?
so it somehow automatically saved my Jerry's contact to the contact that my mom had for Jerry, my cousin's baby daddy, under the same number. So every time I would call my Jerry,
you're calling like both of them.
My cousin's baby daddy would get a call. And so when I call my cousin, I'm like, yo, was that you that I was talking to the other day on the phone? She was like, oh girl, that was you. She's like, you see, I keep it calm. She's like, I kept it calm. Like, I just wanted to know.
I'm scared.
I'm like, girl,
I'm scared of the acrylic nail.
The whole time I was beefing with my cousin over the wrong man.
So what is the first in this?
What is the what?
Like the first time.
I mean, that was the first time that's ever happened to me before. I mean, I've definitely
your first beef.
Well, no, I've definitely beefed with someone before, but not with my cousin unintentionally. Like, that was the worst.
Your first family
And then
feud.
I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm bringing drama into your life, and I didn't even know that I was the cause. Like, what?
Yo, that is pure commentary.
She was understanding, though. Honestly, fuck Apple for that, though.
Y'all, Apple be crazy.
They just keep creating new ways for people to get caught up in relationships. Let's talk about like sharing locations. How do you feel? Because you're in a relationship. Do you share your location with your partner?
I do, only because we're like really open. I'm not really hiding shit from him, and like he shares it with me. But sometimes, like if we get into like a fight or whatever, he'll turn it off. But I'm like, I know where you're going. Like, you're going to Jersey. You were from Jersey. You're going there. You're not going. You know, like. So, but I have like, if I showed you my phone, I have literally anybody I've like came across, I have all their locations.
Well, yeah,
like,
it's
my
a very,
list is
regular thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. Especially because like people be wilding. So
I also just wonder though, less in an aspect of you not trusting him. Like, I know for myself, just because I'm the queen of jumping to conclusions and creating scenarios in my own head, I feel like I'd almost prefer to not have it, just in case like there's any sense of
I feel you. Like, ooh, where you at?
Well, just also I'm very big on patterns and consistency, and I feel like the tone that is set from the beginning, obviously sometimes you're going to deviate from that, but a lot of times when there's like something that's a little off the norm, it starts to trigger me.
Yeah.
It starts to trigger the fuck out of me because of the other situations that I've been in before, which, you know, everyone's not your past.
Right,
but I just wonder about that because a lot of my friends, they share their locations with their significant others.
If it was up to me, I wouldn't have asked him for it. I think he like was like, oh, like why do you have it? Because I literally have everybody. I have like so many locations. He's like, why you don't have my location? I'm like, because I don't want it. But then I just like shared it from them. But I don't even check it. Honestly, I only check it like if I like am gonna call you and I know you're out, whatever. I'll be like, okay, where you at? Like, let me see. Like, are you still there? If not, but I feel like that just comes with like, I agree, like past, like not everyone's your past, but like I have reasons to be on shit too.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
And how do you feel this relationship differs from other ones that you've been in from when you were 14, you know? And 3 fingers.
Bad Bunny.
Entering the picture.
No, this...
Do they use 5 now? Like,
right. Not the whole fucking fist. I feel like emotional-wise and like a mental connection, like we're both very much the same. Like when it comes to communication, when it comes to how like we move with each other, like there's nothing like off the table. Like I'll tell him anything and whatever, and vice versa. But it took a while to get there. Like I was single. At first I was the type like to be always like in a relationship or always bothered by somebody. Like growing up, I'm always like after Bad Bunny just went off and off and off. Like
I love that his name's Bad Bunny.
Right. But after my college situation, I got played down bad, like so bad, so bad. Like to the point, I'll give you an example. One time, and mind you, this is like, and like we were like newly talking. Like obviously he didn't like owe me anything or whatever, but I thought we were pretty serious. But he hung out. So in college, I lived with the volleyball team and he was playing football, so he lived with the football team, whatever. And so my teammates told me this. So it was like a night and he's like, I'm gonna go to a party and then I'm gonna come over. I'm like, cool, whatever. So he comes like over to my dorm at like 1:30, 2 in the morning. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Like, I'm not thinking anything of it. I don't care if you go to a party. So then the next day, my roommates come up to me and they're like, Carlee, did they tell you that so-and-so was hanging out with Shorty? Shorty is a girl. They're like, did they tell you that so-and-so was hanging out with Shorty last night in the dorms? And I'm like, so you weren't at a party, whatever. So basically he lied to me and it was just this whole thing. And like throughout that whole situationship, I was never ever claimed. Mind you, this nigga was living with me, using my car to get to work. And like, if you're down bad, like I got you. Cause like I was a college athlete and I had a job. So I like was okay. And like in college, like obviously it's expensive. So like whatever. And it was just so bad. And then COVID happened when I graduated 2020. And then after that, I didn't really see him ever. From then on, I was just single. Like, I'm just gonna be out here doing me, keeping everything cute and casual. And like, I don't want a boyfriend unless like the right person comes along. And my boyfriend came along and it's just like, he's like the best. I would never trade him.
I do think sometimes we have to go through a lot of potential partners or partners that weren't necessarily the best for us in order to end up with something that we feel is fulfilling and you feel loved and comforted in, you know. But I think there's a lot of mental gymnastics that happen both when you're in a situation with someone who isn't, excuse me, providing you the clarity and the comfort that you need. And then you oftentimes can take that into the new situation, which feels like it's something that's a little bit better. And so I wonder, like, in that time period where you felt as though you were being played, do you feel like it's because you were in the gray area? Because I know I speak for myself when I say I hate being in the gray area. I hate this concept of a talking stage. I hate this concept of a situationship, because for me, I think a lot of the source of distrust and like uncomfort or discomfort comes from me not having that verbal contract or that understanding of like, what are we really doing? You know what I mean? What's the point of this?
And like for me, it was like I was very clear on like I wanted like you're my man. Like this is how I'm moving. And that's how I moved. And he would just be like, and then he kept fucking up. Like it's like not only a volleyball girl, I worked at a diner in college. One girl from the diner he was messing with, and the girl came up to me and was like, I'm so sorry, I didn't even know that was your man. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And like she told me, and then I told him, and he's like, no, she's like dragging it. Like I think we were just messaging, like something like that. And I was just so delusional. And like that me and me now were so different. Like just such different people that would never, ever, ever happen to me again. But like you said, like you need to go through stuff like that to know what you'll tolerate and what you won't tolerate. But when people get messed up, it's trying to bring their old stuff into their new stuff. And so you have to keep it separate.
Yeah.
You have to like keep it separate. And like I get like still have like a little guard, but if it's like the right thing, like not everyone has ill intentions. Even if it ends up bad, I feel like not everyone has like intentions to go in with like bad thoughts.
That is true. And I'm a firm believer in whatever was done in the dark will come to light.
Right.
I believe that a lot of times you waste a lot of energy trying to, I guess, like yell, scream, cry your way into getting the truth out. The truth just naturally comes out sometimes when you're silent. I do think, though, it's very hard to not, for me personally, to not wait for the other shoe to drop. Like whenever I'm in a situation and it feels really good and I'm having a good time, I think that because I do have a certain level of discernment and paranoia, I'm definitely a paranoid bitch, it makes it hard for me to believe that what I'm seeing is truly what's in front of me, because oftentimes it does happen very fast.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in a lot of situationships. I've never fully really been in a relationship. I'm in something right now that I think is going to lead to that. And so that shit is scary and hard, because you're literally being forced to be triggered at every step of the way, because there's a lot of things that come up when you're having these vulnerable discussions and you actually want to connect with someone on a deeper level that you don't have when you're just doing the casual thing, when you're just fucking around, when you're just trying to get your lick back. And it's very interesting. I feel like we're at a definitive point in our lives right now where you can allow that shit to turn you hard and turn you into a different version of yourself, or you can take all that shit to the chest and be like, all right, this happened to me. I'm not going to let it affect future situations. But then you get like PTSD or secondhand PTSD, because I just hear so many stories from talking to people on the show or seeing stuff on social media where I'm like, damn, I didn't even worry about that. I gotta check the Venmo. I gotta check.
I got a Venmo story.
Well, let's hear it.
So this is about my best friend. My best friend was dating a guy for like 2 years, but they were friends for like a bunch of years. Like they worked together and they'd known each other for a long time, and they started dating for 2 years. And she went to like one of his friends' parties. Mind you, they're older. So like we're like 25, 26. They're like probably like 33 now. So she's at the party and she's like, or this one girl comes up to her, which, cause it's like, you know, like we're at the age, it's like cool that you can have female friends. Don't care. But she didn't know how extent this friendship was. So she's like, yeah, like your dude is such a good guy. Like he's been helping me on my car payment for X amount of years, like been Venmoing me the money. My friend's like, huh? Mind you, like she lives by herself and this nigga live in the crib, like at his parents' crib. So it's like, you not even paying my friend rent, but you buying a bitch a car? So whatever. So after that, it was just over. But
that's crazy.
It's just crazy. But I think honestly, like intuition, people take that shit for like granted. Like intuition is majority right. Like if you don't feel like a situationship is right or going the way you want it, it's like, it's just people now have a problem choosing to listen to it or not.
But see, I have anxiety and stomach issues, so I never know if it's really...
Okay, but you don't really feel it technically, but it's just like, like...
No, but okay, this is the thing. Sometimes I can't tell if it's my gut or if I'm driving myself to create the situation. And that's why I love my friends. I'm friends with a lot of people who are not yes men. They'll be like, yeah, you're creating a situation. They put me in my place. Right. But I'm saying, like, sometimes it's very hard, that feeling of your gut or that intuition. There's been so many times where my intuition or the feeling of my gut, or at least maybe I don't know how to read it fully. Like, how do you read your gut and your intuition? Because there's been so many times where it's been wrong.
My thing is, I think, because you're an earth sign. So I feel like earth signs are very much, are you an earth? Yeah, Earth.
Taurus.
Yeah, earth sign. Very much like need the facts. Like you need the Carfax, like I do in front, so you can feel like, I feel like all earth signs crave stability.
Yeah.
Like in anything, it's just you want to be stable. And I think like letting yourself like fall, because like it's essentially you're like falling for someone.
True.
And it's like that point is like, do I want to fall or not?
That is true.
Yeah.
But also I think it's I want to fall, but I want to have like some bandages and a first aid kit like next to me. Yeah, maybe some knee pads. That would be nice.
Helmet.
Like a helmet, all the means of protection to help me. It just gets kind of confusing. And there is one thing that I have been seeing go around on social media. Well, first of all, you mentioned the word delusional.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone is talking about being in the state of delulu.
Yes.
Just, you know, living.
I love it. I love it.
Do you live your life in a state of delusion?
Not
like
no
how
more.
do you? Okay,
but
okay.
back in the day, because you know I'm old. But
you're not old, girl. Stop that,
dude. I was queen of living in delusion, and I loved it because I was never sad. You know, I'm just.
I'm a bartender. I'd be struggling to open up these.
It's okay. You have one hand. But I think being delusional. I mean, to an extent, I think in relationship wise, like whoever you're like dealing with like intimately, it's cool to be delusional. I think friendship wise, that's never okay. Never okay to be delusional, because at the end of the day, if someone's your friend, like you're just be like 100 with them. It's like some people will be like, oh, I'm just gonna do this, and like my friend's not gonna care because it's my friend. Like, see, now you're being fucking stupid. Like,
but I feel like when we apply that to relationships, like I love the idea of living in delusion, but like with a lot of the videos that I see, you're not being well, you are being delusional. They don't like you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel
it just depends on how far you take the delulu.
Yeah.
You know, like if you want this man to wife you up, but he living in another bitch crib and like got a whole girlfriend or has baby mom, all that stuff. But with baby mom past like the year, like if the baby just came out and like,
well, you know, if it's under 5, that relationship's still alive.
Exactly.
If it's under 4, I can't fuck with you no more. If it's under 3, that ain't for me. Yo. No, but
yeah, like I feel like that is just like, all right, come on. But like if you know you're messing with somebody and this isn't going to be your husband, you don't see it going nowhere, he's not taking you on dates, you guys are just hanging out, fucking doing whatever. Cool. Have fun.
I just feel like I'm at that point, especially right now, as I'm about to be in my mid-20s, where I would love to have children. I don't 100% know if that's something that will happen for me, because relationships are difficult and I want to be married. I want to be settled.
For sure.
But I don't feel like fucking around with people that I can't see myself being married to, or that I can't see myself bringing a child into this world with.
Right.
Because it's kind of like, what's the point? At this point for me now, like there's been times where I wanted to fuck around and I wanted to just like have a good time, be outside, and that was cool and that was fine. But then it was like the morning would come, the sun would rise, they would leave, and I would be sad.
Like, damn.
I would be like, damn, why did I do that? I saw some girl online talking about how, you know, casual sex is like fast food. It's like McDonald's and Chick-fil-A. Like, it's nice. You like it. It's good. But if you have it too many days in a row, you get diarrhea. And it's just not great. Your face gets a little puffy.
Yeah,
you know?
Facts.
Mentally, the casual sex, it's not for me.
I feel that. I feel like that's where you gotta differentiate. How to
differentiate?
You know me and vocab. Just we're not here. We're here.
It's okay. We're just like cruising our way through.
Yeah, but that's when you gotta defer toxicity and delusion. Like if you in something toxic, don't let it happen. Like, but if you're just like having fun, I don't know.
But I feel like you can have fun and not be delusional or toxic. You know what I mean? I think I get very frustrated sometimes because there's so many people online right now complaining about how shitty the dating pool is, but we're all not really taking any initiative to make it better.
Well, the LGBT community is rising, so I feel like girls are mostly like, all right, I'm done with niggas. I'm going to get me a bitch.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean,
because men just don't know how to get their shit together. Some men. My man got it together.
At the end of the day, too, though, it's like a lot of them know and they don't want to. Like, there's this whole narrative of like, oh, men are dumb and men just like do that, and like, no, like they know what they're doing.
No,
they know exactly what they're doing. They don't want to deal with the issue, or they don't really care to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you hear about situations all the time where there's like what is it called? A pity ring, or I forget what they call it. It's basically when you give someone a ring. There's a nicer way of saying it, but you just give someone a ring because you feel like they deserve it.
A pity medal, like, you know,
pity medal.
Yeah, like when you get like a medal just for participating.
I mean, that's kind of what it is. It's like a participation ring at that point.
Yeah,
where they're like, you deserve it. Here you go.
You did it.
You know what I mean? That's such a thing that happens. But I just feel like nowadays we're living in a time where a lot of the weddings are mainly more for social media and Instagram pictures and likes than like an actual marriage. And that's not everyone. There's a lot of people who are married and happy and in relationships and happy and single and happy, but I don't know. Yeah. It's just like weird.
It's weird.
Weird times. So I find myself going back and forth because I do think it's so easy to be like, fuck this. I got other options. I'm just going to move on to the next thing, as opposed to actually like build with someone and do the work.
Right. But I feel like that's the difference of knowing. I don't know, because some people aren't worth the work. Some people it's just like, okay, like, bye. But some people are worth it. It just depends on like what you're looking for, honestly. It's really easy when you know what you're looking for. And if you know how to like keep what you're looking for separate and having fun, or if you don't, like when I met my boyfriend, like I straight up told him, like, I'm not looking for anything casual at that point. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just like, I'm cool off anything casual. I'm cool being single and alone. Like, if you want something casual, you don't know about this, like, I don't even want to bother with you.
Yeah.
And then like, he was like, no, like it's worth like getting to know you more and trying to build something. If it works out, it works out. If it don't, it don't. And it ended up just working out. But
well, that's where I think the talking stage can be beneficial if you have some kind of initiative or some kind of intention behind it. Yeah. And it's not like, oh, we're just talking to one another. Because at the end of the day, like you said, if you know what you want, then you can actually pursue that connection with someone, as opposed to being like, let's just figure this out, go on a couple dates, right, and see what happens.
And then get ghosted or ghost.
Yeah. And we both, as you've heard us mention here and there, we work in the service industry. And so working in the service industry, sometimes it can be like Tinder in real life. And at my old job, it was like that. That's why I had to leave. Because
lucky. My job was just people that were like 40 years old and fucking creepy.
I'm like, don't say lucky. You know, actually, so Carlee used to work at a club. Do you want me to say the name or no?
You can say it. I talk shit about
She used to work at Sin City in Philly. And Sin City's a booty club, if you didn't know. Yeah. She was a bottle girl, bartender. She was doing her thing, making her money, okay? I actually went on a date. Well, not a date. It's not a date to the booty club, but I went to Sin with a guy that I had served at El Camino one night after.
No way.
And tell me why. We pull up. I went with one of my friends at the time. We were all really fucked up as is, but we're like hanging out. I think I was getting a lap dance. I ended up giving the girl all my money that night because I saw a picture of her kid on the lock screen and we were talking and I was like, no, for real. Like, that's like some real shit. I was talking to her. She was mad cool. She was mad cool. If I got one lap dance, that was it. That was all I could afford after that. Like, that was all I could do. And I was talking to him and then his phone had dropped and like his girl, who I didn't know, this is a trauma of mine, this is a trigger point, was calling him and blowing up his phone the entire time when I went to the booty club with him. So yeah, never talked to him again. Yeah. Wonder how he's doing. He listens to the show too. Hi.
Hey. Break up with your girlfriend. Say that.
No. But like, I want to talk a little bit about how it is working in the industry. I work at like a sports bar right now, but there are times where there is a lot of unwanted attention and there are some unsavory comments. So I was just curious about like, what are some of the strangest ways that a patron, a customer has tried to come at you?
Weirdest. Oh, I don't know. I think everyone's just weird, honestly.
What's like the general demographic that you see when you're serving people? Like bachelor parties, like...
Yeah, so it's usually, they're definitely older.
Okay, like how old?
40 and up.
Okay.
Like maybe 36. Okay. I'll say it's 36 and up. And it's just going to like a strip club for men that are like going like by themselves, like not like, oh, I'm gonna throw like mad bread. Like it's just like a regular guy who's like middle to upper class and like has money to spend and is single and bored. I haven't got many married men, only like a few, but like for them, it's just such an ego boost because it's like you see mind you, my club, the girls are not like the regular gentlemen's clubs around here. The girls here are young, like 18, 19, like, and they look like babies. It's either you look like a baby or you have a BBL. And like, you could just tell, like, So they're just so impressionable. Like, it's like you show a couple dollars. It's like, okay, you know, like, it's just such an ego boost for them. So a lot of my job working there was just stroking niggas' egos. Just stroking. But I mean, that's easy. Listen, I'm humble. I'll stroke an ego, get a couple dollars.
I'll put on whatever jersey I need.
Okay.
Like, sports bar.
Literally, like men just do shit just to do it to make themselves feel good. Like, one time I made this guy 2 drinks, came out to like maybe $25. He took me $200. Like,
you're like, you can come back anytime.
Yeah, he's like, you can keep it, sweetheart. Okay. I mean, like, thank you, and like, obviously I'm appreciative, but it's like, I'm not gonna be on your dick now. Like, I did nothing to make you give me the $200 at all. So it was very interesting though. I met some young cats too. Very interesting.
See, like, the interactions I've been having at my new job, this other guy came in one day and I was working, I was super busy. You know, when there's a big sports game and you're the only bartender in that room, you keep your eyes down. You keep your eyes down. If I make eye contact with you and you give me this finger, you might as well have given me this one. Yeah. And now you're going to wait. Now you're last, motherfucker. Literally. And so I'm in one of those modes, right? He gets a drink from me. I'm going to get another beer for somebody. I turn around and he's like, wow, I really like the mole on your back.
Yo, what?
That I really like the mole on your back. The mole that I check all the time to see if it's precancerous because I'm nervous and skin cancer runs in my family. That's the mole that he likes on my lower back. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, how'd you see like, what are you supposed to say to that? I'm like, how'd you see that? He's like, oh, it's nice. I'm like, okay. And then I tell every guy at my job, my new job, I'm like, I have a boyfriend, usually to get them to stop, because he's like, oh, you're so beautiful, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I have a boyfriend. He's like, So I keep doing my thing. 5 minutes later, he's like, I really want to fight your boyfriend.
Yo, what?
I'm like, yo. He's like, yeah, like, I just really want to fight him. Like, where do you want to go? Like, let's pick any country you want to go to. He's like, I'll buy you a flight. Which, first of all, why do men think that that's going to work? Like, why do niggas think, oh, hey, let me get on a flight with a man who just complimented my mole that I met on a random Tuesday at a sports bar that I've never, ever had any other conversation with aside from your commentary on my mole. Let's hop on a flight.
Like,
let's hop on a flight and spend a week together in a country where I don't fucking know anybody and I have no ties to anybody and you could fucking murder me and chop up my body into 10 million little different pieces. Yeah. Like, why does that sound like a good idea?
Bro, because they're crazy. Have
you ever had, like, repeat offenders come into your job?
100%.
But anything that bordered, like, stalker, like, a little nervous?
So there's one guy, and if I said his name, anybody who is, like, on my page and watched this video would know exactly who the fuck I'm talking about. But I'm not going to say his name. I'm not even going to give him an alias because I don't even know what would hide him. Okay. So this is anonymous, A. And
okay, Pretty Little Liar.
He literally is just like this old geezer. Like, he's not even that old.
When you say geezer, are you talking about like 60, 70?
I'm like 60.
80? Okay, because that's like geezer.
He's 60, and like anytime, like if he goes to like Risque, Delilah, Cheerleader, Sin,
Risque is a whole other bag.
He's wearing the suit. I was just there the other day. But, he's
that was
wearing
the first strip club I ever went to.
Really?
Yeah. I went with my friend and her boyfriend. It was a very interesting
interesting. On like my second day with my boyfriend, we went to Risque, and like the first girl that comes up to us, she's like, you know, guys, like, we do couple stuff.
You were like, I don't know.
I just met this nigga like a week ago. But anyway, so he's like known around like all the strip clubs. Mm-hmm. So my first time working, I had my glasses on, and he was like, you know, you look real sexy with those glasses. Da 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 da. Like like just like talking game. I'm like, thank you. Like, thanks. Like and he bought a $50 shot. He bought a shot of Johnny Walker Blue.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, so expensive. So
I'm not a whiskey girl, but go off.
Yeah, right. Go off, king. But yeah, so he was just drinking that, whatever. And I'm thinking like, okay, like, you got money. He tipped me $50, which I was like, okay, thank you. So I gave him my number. Then it just became like, you're hitting me up all the time. Don't do that. Why are you doing that? So I didn't block him because I'm like, eventually I'll need money, whatever. So one night I was working and I was like, yeah, like, come in. It's like a Thursday night. It was like calm. Like, it's not a lot of people here, you know, we can really like get to know each other, you know, just to get some money. So he comes to the club and we eat dinner together. It was just weird. Like we were eating dinner together.
What do y'all serve at the club? Like wings?
No, the food actually is bomb. Like steak, salmon, lobster.
I've never gone to eat. I've usually been too obliterated.
Right. The wings are like the worst thing I've seen.
Really?
Yeah, don't ever get the wings.
I mean, I'm vegetarian. I wouldn't get the wings. Or the salmon. Sorry.
Damn. It's okay. Don't just.
They got Alfredo?
They do.
You've never
The Alfredo is good. Chill. I love Mirage.
But you know I'm lit if I'm eating Alfredo at Mirage.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So we're like eating dinner and I'm thinking like he's gonna give me a bag. Like I'm thinking like, all right, like I got like at least 300. Like he's gonna give it to me. Doesn't give it to me. Gives me like another $50. I'm like, okay, so I just wasted 4 hours sitting.
You're like, this is like minimum wage.
Dinner.
Below minimum wage. Ain't it like 15 now?
Right. So after that, I just like was like, all right, you're just a weirdo. Like he's the type that same like how you said like I'm gonna fly you out. I'm gonna do this. I'll take you to Capitol Grill, which is a Darden restaurant. So the same steak at Capitol Grill is the same shit at Bahama Breeze. Just so y'all know. Like, not spend your dollars at Capitol. Eddie V's, all the same shit. Season 52, they're literally all the same company. They use all the same food. But anyway, so he's like just talking all this game. I'm like, yeah. So then it like after that, I'd like never hit him up to come see me again. He's just texting me, but he still like comes in the clubs. Like he just be club hopping. So one time I saw him and like he was like, why you like don't want to talk to me no more? You know, like he's like the old like that when I say geezer, like the old touchy, like, you know, like caress you and shit. And he was like, this is before me and my boyfriend started dating. This is like a while ago, like a year before. And he's like, even if you have a boyfriend, like you can have me on the side. I'll just take care of you. I'm like, I have a girlfriend. I'm like, I don't have a boyfriend. I have a girlfriend. And because I feel like he was just really homophobic, just gave me homophobic vibes. So I'm like, yeah, I have a girlfriend. He's like, oh. And then just never started.
That was the end of that?
Yeah, never texted me again. I knew it. I'm like, I knew it. I knew you were a fucking asshole piece of shit. So I'm like, yeah, I have a girlfriend. Yeah, I eat pussy.
Well, it's just like, crazy how like it doesn't matter what you say when you're not interested. You could say I have a boyfriend. I mean, I'm
right. No, literally.
Obviously, he had some beliefs that didn't align with your lifestyle, with the lifestyle that you told him that you had. You know what I mean? But it's just very disheartening because it's like, what the fuck am I supposed to say?
Right. It's like, why do I have to say that? Like for you to leave me the fuck alone. Like,
I saw someone be like, we should start saying, I need a financial provider. Like, that's what I need. I need $20,000 to leave me alone. Right. To leave you alone. But it's just very odd also how people don't get the hint and they don't understand. You don't want to entertain this.
Yes.
When I used to work at, I don't want to say the name.
That's fine.
But I'm like, when I used to work at the taco spot that used to get lit on 2nd Street, y'all know it. I used to get approached about having threesomes, like often. But like the taco spot. But I'm saying there was one day. There was one day where I had 2 separate couples who had asked me to have a threesome with them.
In a day.
Sit at my bar at the same time. Sit right next to each other. And then also you're doing that and you're not tipping me.
See, that's the thing.
That's what I don't understand. Like, I mean,
that's the
thank you. I appreciate it. Like, I'm flattered. I decline. But like, you should just give me some money for my time and harassment. Like, I don't understand.
When you're working, you're not drunk. Y'all, like, you're getting them drunk. So it's like,
no, I was drunk 95% of the time.
Okay.
I definitely was.
Okay.
I mean, I quit,
still,
so it's fine. Everybody knows.
Yeah, but still, like, if I'm working, it's like, I'm not thinking about popping my pussy for both of y'all right now. Like, I'm sorry. I'm here to get money. Like,
I'm here to do my job.
Yeah.
And then it's also frustrating at this new spot. So I don't want to use the term like, I'll use creepy admirer as opposed to the S word, because the S word is scary and I don't like to fucking breathe light into that.
Yeah.
But I had this table and it was a very interesting dynamic. It was these 2 younger black guys and these 2 older, a white woman and a white man. They were all sitting together, but the white couple was like super Southern. And then the 2 guys that were sitting there, they were like definitely from Philly, you know, like some street niggas. I'm like, what is going on? Like, how did y'all meet each other?
Right.
And it turns out that they had met in like a bar, hotel lobby, some situation like that. So anyway, I go up to the table. I'm like, hey guys, nice to meet you. My name's Athena, whatever. And the guy's like, oh my God, like,
which guy? Which one?
Oh, I'm sorry. The younger, let's call him Lewis. Okay. Lewis, the younger black guy, he probably was like in his 30s.
Like, how do you be thinking these names so quick?
I don't know. You gotta just come off the dome, you know? So Lewis is like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Like, I want to marry you. Like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And I'm like, ha ha ha. It's the last table of the night, just kind of like entertaining it. Like, like, stop it. Thank you. Give me money. You know?
Yeah,
That's how I feel. And so I bring them their shots. We end up doing a shot together. Like, we're chilling, we're talking. And it just kept going on, so much so where every time I go to the table, he always has something to say. And the older white woman, let's call her Beth. Beth is like, she's literally like, we don't want to make her feel sexually harassed now, baby. She's like, you're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I don't want you to feel sexually harassed, because that's what the women be saying today. I'm like, oh my God, yeah. Ma'am. I'm like, I do feel a little harassed, but like, I'm just trying to get my money and go. Like, it's okay. Right. Like, just compensate me for my time. You know what I mean?
No, literally,
and
please.
So the interaction ends after they're talking to me about relationships and non-traditional relationships. One of them was talking about how they were bi, and then the other older white couple was like, what? Like, are you monogamous? Like, they were so confused. They were like, are you straight? Like, with a man?
Like, one of the guys said he was bi.
Yeah.
I love that for him.
And they were a little bit confused about it. So I got brought into the conversation. I'm just trying to close the bill and go the fuck home.
Yeah, please.
And so at the end, they're like, are you with somebody? And I'm like, yeah, actually I am. Like, I have a boyfriend, my go-to line.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's too bad. That's too bad. So the night ends. I don't think anything of it. Couple days passed and I'm on the main bar. And this was right as a Phillies game was starting. So it was getting a little busy and I was supposed to go over to the other side. So I'm like getting beers for everyone, pouring shots, and in walks the guy, Lewis, from a couple nights before. And I didn't recognize him at first, but he just looked at me in a way where it's like, I know you. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, I know you know me, but how do I know you? And do I want to know that I know you? Like, what's going on?
Right.
So he literally walks in, locks eyes with me at the bar, like, when I tell you, I've gotten that look a couple times in my life. One time it was when I was held hostage on the elevator. That's a whole other situation for another day. But he just looks at me like that, and I'm like, hey. And he's like, hey. I'm like, what's up? He's like, do you remember me? I'm like, oh my God, yeah, hey, how's it going? How's it going? What's going on? Yeah. He's like, well, you know, I realized I never got your number last time I was here, and I got a new job around the corner, and I just wanted to stop in and see you. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know why I said sorry. I'm like, stand in your boundaries, stand on it. I was like, sorry, I have a boy. You know, I was nervous.
Every girl just has to apologize.
So uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I have a boyfriend, whatever. And he's like, oh, well, we could still do a shot together. He walks inside of the bar. Okay, you know how there's that that little area,
jail immediately,
there's like an imaginary dotted line where it's like inside the bar, outside of the bar. Like, you don't step inside of the bar if you don't work at the bar. Like,
literally
basic common sense. Yeah, he steps inside of the bar. Okay, so much so to my manager having to tell him, yo, move from the bar.
Like, move.
Then she looks at me and she's like, oh, I need you on the other side. I'm thinking she's trying to save me. And she didn't even know what was going on. She's just like, I need you on the other side of the bar. So cool. That ends. My friend serves him, gives him a shot, whatever. Tell me why the next day I'm walking to work and I see this man across the street. This was in the daytime.
Dude,
he stops in the middle of the crosswalk and just stares at me like that.
Why?
Literally just looks at me, watches me go to work. Okay, that was the last of it. And hopefully, you know, he did say he worked in the area. Hopefully it was a coincidence, but you hear stories like that all the time, and then like a girl goes missing.
No, literally.
It's just a scary aspect of womanhood that a lot of people get to not think about, or some people don't think about as often. I was walking to the nail salon today and I noticed there was a woman standing right in front of me. She was walking and you could see our shadows on the sidewalk, and I always am peeping my shadow and peeping if another shadow emerges behind me. She saw that shadow form and she like looked around like she was about to fucking hit me. You know what I mean?
Like,
you always got to be on guard because like it could be nothing, but it also could be something.
It could be something. Like, that's actually really scary.
Yeah.
So wait, after that you never saw him again?
I mean, this was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago at this point.
Work there anymore?
No, I work there. This is at my new spot. Yeah.
Okay.
It's, I mean, my old spot I definitely had my fair share of favorites, I guess you could say. People that would love to do a little pop-up on me, but
I never had anything like, because that's like a little scary. That's a little spooky.
No, it is a little spooky. But
so one time I'm at a radio event and it's the Juneteenth parade. So we're like, I have like the radio tents, like we're there. And at the time I was producing for the older station, like I don't know if you heard Classics 107.9.
No.
It's very old. Like, they play anything, like, you heard of it, period.
I don't listen to the radio because I don't drive.
Like, they listen to anything, like, 1979 and, like, beyond.
Okay.
Not down, up. Like, like older music. So, whatever. So, I was producing for them, and the lady, her name's Lady B. Shout out Lady B. So, she's, like, a Philly staple. Like, Philly people love her. So, we're at the Juneteenth parade, and this one guy comes up to me. He's like, hey, like, I've seen you on Instagram. And I'm thinking, like, he's seen me on Lady B's Instagram. Like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, you know, like, I work for her. Like, I'm her producer. Da-da-da. He's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Pulls up a picture from the Sin City Instagram of me with my fucking butt out. Like, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Putting his phone down because it's, like, my general manager, the sales manager, my manager. Like, everyone's, like, behind. And, like, it's me talking to this dude and my other friend that's, like, in my position. So I'm, like, trying to put his phone down to make sure nobody sees this. And he's like, yeah, like, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, this is my other job, too. He was like, oh, I've never seen you at the club yet. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
This is another time to bring up the club.
Right.
It's like Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club unless we in Fight Club.
And, like, I thought, like, not to be, like, rude, I think he was a little bit, like, on the spectrum, like, somewhat. But so after, like, the conversation, you know, like, when the conversation's over, you'd be like, all right, have a good day. That's what I said. I'm like, all right, like, it was nice seeing you. Have a good day. Keep pushing. I, like, went back to, like, our table, and he's just standing there, like, at the tent, just, like, he's just standing there.
It's that look, bro.
Let me borrow your phone.
It's that look.
He goes to take a picture of himself. He's like this, like, trying to take a selfie. Then turns around, takes a selfie with me in the background, and everyone's seeing this. And I'm like, bro, move. Like, move. So then I'm like, all right, whatever, he's weird. So I'm gonna move away. So we had Lady B, like, I think she was, like, running the parade or something like that. So she was on stage. So I'm gonna go help Lady B backstage. I'm gonna go over there. I'm walking over there. He's following me. So I'm like, I gotta turn around. Like, you know when they say, like, if someone's like, if you're driving, someone follows you, go to the police station. I'm like, I gotta turn around. So I turn around, go back to the tent. I'm like, hey guys, this guy, because they knew I worked at the club, but just didn't know what kind of club it was.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey guys, this guy's following me from the club. Like, can I have somebody, like, walk me to an Uber?
You're like,
I didn't even
help
drive.
me, please.
Yeah. And it was just so weird. I mean, thankfully, I've never seen that guy again, but, like, imagine if, like, you know, if I just, like, walked to my Uber by myself, or, like,
no, for real.
That shit is scary. It's so scary.
It's just a reminder. You gotta check on your friends. You gotta always be aware of your surroundings and stay vigilant. It is very difficult to distinguish when someone has a strong liking for you and when they have bad intentions behind it, you know? And I think oftentimes it's hard to not be either too paranoid or too open. It's hard to have some kind of medium because shit does happen. Like, I literally have on me tatted, like, anything can happen. I'm a very aware person sometimes to a fault because it makes me very paranoid, but, like, you just never know.
No, literally.
And that's the one thing, working in this industry, it's very taxing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people talk about it, but I don't think it's talked about enough. Like, first of all, the physical labor, but also just the mental toll that it takes on you, the amount of, like, substances you ingest. I mean,
no, literally,
drinking,
that's the thing. And, like, you have to be this kind of person all the time just so you can, like, get shit done.
Yeah.
Like, it's not where you're, like, behind a computer and, like, all right, I'm going to type this email and I'm getting paid. Like, no, like, we're literally working to please people.
And also, I think it's really honed in the lesson that has been something that I've been learning my entire life. It doesn't matter how big you smile, how amazing the service is. It doesn't matter if the food was wonderful, if the drinks were slamming. Some people fucking hate you because they hate themselves for the most part. But some people are fucking miserable and they don't like you and there's nothing that you can do about it. And they're just, they don't like you and you can't win them over and that's okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think working in the service industry, some people fucking hate you and you got to get back up there and you got to go to your next table or your next bar guest and you got to get that money. You know what I mean? You have no other option.
I think everybody from the age of 15 to 21 should work in a service industry, period. Because people do not understand, like, what you have to do. Like, unfortunately, guys, don't kill me, but I was, like, a no-tipper kind of bitch.
Really? Before working in the industry?
I was her. I was like, well, they picked this job. Like, why do I have to tip?
And then you worked in the industry, and you're like, oh wow, this.
Yeah, and I was just so like, ugh, like I hate that for me. Like I hate that I was like that ever. Like that's so. For people with that mentality, change that shit now, because you can get that same food either to go or at the grocery store and make it.
Even to go, you got to tip your DoorDash or Uber Eats driver and stuff. I think also a lot of
You're paying for the experience. You're out to dinner. You want service. If not, you can go home.
100%. But also a lot of people don't have the insight that we have, that a lot of the service industry workers aren't getting paid for their time.
Exactly.
And it's set up in a way where you're not getting a fair hourly wage. So you do rely on those tips, you know?
Yeah.
And it is frustrating. It is an added cost onto the already existing bill. But it's like, if you're not in a position to pay to tip someone, don't go out. Don't go out then.
Don't go out.
What's the point of that?
If you got $70 and your meal was $69, don't go out. Because then there'll be people that leave you the $1. I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
You know what I hate?
Keep it, please.
You know what I hate? Come here, baby. I got something for you. Come here. Come here. They'd be like, come here. It'd be $5.
Right.
On a $200 bill.
Be like, yo, I got you. Hook us up. Hook us up.
I'm going to take care of you, babe. Don't worry.
It'd be $5. That's not taking care of me.
$5.
That's not taking care of nobody.
That is 3%.
That's a gallon of gas. That's a gallon of gas.
In this economy, I mean, a lot of people are staying home.
That's a medium coffee. Not even. If you're going to Dunkin', that's a medium. Starbucks is not even a medium. Like, it's terrible.
What do they even call that? Like a grande?
Grande. I'm a Starbucks girl.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you, I guess, now that you're freshly 26, and the way that you introduced yourself, what's something that would have shocked 25-year-old or 24-year-old Carlee now in terms of dating and relationships? What's a perspective of yours that's changed over time?
I think for me is that I actually have a boyfriend. I was very much like, just like, I was in player mode, especially like working at my job. I knew like, because it's like you have like your sugar daddies and you have your regulars and you have all this stuff. It's like, when you have a partner, realistically, you cannot, like, that's not gonna be cool. It shouldn't be cool. Like, I get it, because there's some girls that like are like damn near married, like at my job. You know, they've been with their partner for like X amount of years, and like, I guess they built that dynamic. But for me, it's like I'm a Libra, like we're natural flirts. So I naturally flirt with a lot of people, especially at work, because I'm like, I want you to pay me. Realistically, I want you to pay me. So like, I didn't care about finding my person, because I'm like, this is not the time. Like, it's cool. But I actually met my boyfriend at the club.
You're like, side note.
Found love at the club, but
mentioning Tinder in real life.
Right. And but I didn't talk to my boyfriend for like months. Like, he had my number and we texted. Like, he'd blow up my phone. And I always wouldn't answer, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, I know, like, I met you in this space, and it's like, you probably only know me as this. So it's like, I try to keep that separate. But he was just like, all right, like, let me actually like take you out. And I'm like, okay. And that was that. But before that, I've tried that before, you know? Like, I've known people, like customers or whatever, they're like, let me take you out. And I'm like, all right, like, I have nothing to lose. And they just be fucking weird. And I'm like, whatever, it was cool, but just weird. Like, nothing came from it, you know? So, and I was comfortable at the club at the time. So it was like, I didn't really have a reason to like look for a boyfriend or to like be in something that was like more than casual. So I would just be like, damn, bitch, you got a man. Like, you really got a man. And yeah.
Well, also, I think you mentioning comfort is something that's very important, especially working in this industry, because comfort oftentimes leads to complacency, and complacency is often accompanied by misery. Yeah. And I feel like when you work in this industry, yes, we know that there's a lot of other opportunities waiting for us. It's the same shit at a different place. But sometimes you get so emotionally attached to the people around you. And the same could be said in any relationship or any friendship, family dynamic. When you're comfortable, shit is easy. You know what I mean? Because you don't have to force yourself to do better or relearn or adapt to a new environment. And so I think that, you know, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone definitely served you well. Now you're in a happy situation. Yeah. And I really enjoyed having you on the show. Thanks. Let everyone know where they can find you.
So I'm on Instagram mainly at cmoneyMurda_. don't go on my TikTok. Just don't do it. It's fucking whack.
She'll pop up anyway. TikTok really be doing that.
Yo, my TikTok is so corny. I want to be a TikTok girly so bad, but my shit corny. And that's really it. Just Instagram. That's really all me. But I just want to thank you for having me on.
Girl, thank you for having me on. Check out my episode with Carlee on Behind
Dude, that's my
Schedule.
best episode.
Really?
That's my best episode.
Stop that.
Like, I only got 4. But the one with me and Athena is doing
I'm like 1
great.
of 4. She 4 for 4, but
yeah.
we never won. And if you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe, send to your friends, comment down below. I guess that's all the shit I should be saying since I'm now on YouTube.
Comment, subscribe.
Remember to follow me on YouTube or subscribe. I guess that's what they say. And you can follow me on Instagram at Does She Ever Shut Up? I would spell it out, but this is a new username. Along with, have you noticed I've been going by my government? I'm Athena now, not Athena.
I know.
Because I'm not scared. My family knows that I be talking about the coochie business every Tuesday. If you like what you hear, I'll be back next week. Not sure who I'm going to have on because we're a bit behind schedule this week.
Period.
But
I feel like next time we should do this again, and I want to get really into coochies.
Into coochies?
I want to get into coochies.
Like into the anatomy of coochies? Or
no,
just...
like our coochie business.
Oh.
Yeah. Next time.
No, we kept it a little conservative.
We did. I love that for us. See, that's 26. That's literally fucking 26. It's just so...
we got 3 fingers deep. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all next Talk Your Shit Tuesday. Bye.